For this hustle, Jess has placed an advert in the local paper for a car at a bargain price to draw in a
Hello.
mark.
Hi, I'm phoning up about the advert for the car.
Really know what the best thing to do if you want to come down and have a look at it.
Okay,
That'd probably be the best thing.
Of course, our hustlers have no intention of selling a car. They're only after the money.
The scam relies on front. The mark has to believe we are who we say we are.
There are three important elements to this scam. The mark has to have a reason to bring his money. He then has to give us that money. Then he has to let us walk away.
Leaving the mark home alone.
This one, yeah.
Alex, Jess and Paul have found an ideal property they know will be empty for the afternoon, and they know how to gain entry to a house.
Right. Key. Remember, keep the phone off the hook. Right. See you in a minute. See you when you get the cash.
Alex and Paul make themselves scarce, while Jess gets on with rigging the spy cameras to record today's hit.
Find yourself a girl and settle down. Live a simple life in a quiet town. Steady as she goes. Steady as she goes.
The mark arrives.
A big one.
Jess calls up the boys so they can eavesdrop on her progress.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Tracy.
He gets down to business and checks out the car for sale.
It's a bit messy. We're going to, if you want us to give us a little hoover before, then you might ask.
He seems happy enough and goes ahead with the purchase.
There's so much trouble getting here anyway.
It's important that Jess gets him inside the house to complete the transaction. But he doesn't realise that Alex and Paul are listening to everything that's said and are about to turn up posing as policemen.
I think he's about to...
Funny.
It's all right, don't worry. I'll just put the account now.
You have the warrant?
Jess takes the mark's money and goes to put it away in the drawer. But in reality, she pockets it.
You sure you don't want a drink or something?
The offer of a drink is the cue for the boys to ring the doorbell.
Hang on, it's 2 seconds. I might be them just now.
Tracy Rutherford.
Yeah?
I'm D.I. Steele. This is D.S. Mosley. We've got a search warrant for these premises.
I think you've got the
Let
wrong
my colleague
house.
through.
Anybody else here, Tracy?
As Jess lets the boys in, she passes the money to Alex, leaving Paul to intimidate the mark.
I'm D.S. Mosley. We're here to search these premises for stolen goods. What's your name?
You've got the wrong house!
Failed to mention it.
Alex
my
makes sure the
God.
mark can see that Jess has been arrested for having a stolen car, which he's just paid thousands of pounds for in cash.
Well, when Johnny gets back...
Do you have any ID?
Right, get in the car.
Their part over, Alex slips out of character as Jess slips out of the handcuffs. Alex checks the ill-gotten gains.
You came to pick up a car. Do you know it's illegal to buy anything that you know or suspect to be stolen?
Believing Paul to be a real policeman, the mark is frightened that he too will be arrested and complies with Paul's instructions.
All right, I'll check your story. If everything checks out, it'll be fine. Put your hands on the table. If you move, I'll arrest you. Do you understand? Stay there. Don't move.
The team drive away confident the mark will stay put. The mark is now home alone, and the minutes begin to tick by. After 10 minutes, the mark still hasn't moved. He is totally convinced by the team's play acting. Nearly 20 minutes have elapsed since the team drove off, and the Mark's curiosity gets the better of him, and he goes to investigate. His face says it all. The truth slowly dawns on him. The car's gone, and so has his money. He came to buy a car. He gave the money to a friendly Jess, who was arrested as a car thief, and he was told to stay put by a police detective. Nothing is as it seems, apart from him being down thousands of pounds, courtesy of the real hustle. It's time for the Mark to find out what's really happened.
So I'm shaking, I'm still shaking, I can't believe this. She just made me feel comfortable, and I sat down, I thought I was really relaxed. And the next thing I knew, doorbell rang, and 5-0. It's scary though, it's very scary, and I mean, if it can happen to somebody in real life, then I don't want to be that person again, definitely not.
If this guy was really being conned, things would get a lot worse, because the first thing we'd do as we drove away is we'd call the police. Remember, this guy's alone in someone else's house without their permission. Who's going to believe his story about 3 hustlers in a car?
Also remember, if you find yourself in an unusual situation and you do get confronted by the police, don't be afraid to check who they are. Ask them for a telephone number where you can call and find out if they are who they say they are. If they're genuine, they should let you do that. Unlike us.
Valet parking is becoming much more common in the UK, but in the US, it's everywhere. But it's something that can be abused by hustlers. In Hollywood a few years ago, a big event on Hollywood Boulevard took up all the parking on the street. So some hustlers opened up their own valet parking service. Except after the event, people came out to find that the hustlers and their cars were gone. Of course, that would never happen here in the UK. Would it?
This may not be Hollywood, but the stakes are the same. This is the valet steal. Alex is hanging around this patrolled car park. He seems to be on official business as he measures up the surrounding area. But he is actually keeping a covert eye on this man, the car park attendant. Alex isn't going to rob him. He is after his customers and their cars. Alex's waiting game pays off. The attendant walks off on a break. Once he is out of sight, Alex slips past the gates. Alex's fluorescent jacket, security ID and clipboard now make him look like a real parking attendant. But will that be enough to convince a customer? There is no sign of a Mark, but at least there is no sign of the real attendant. But every second spent waiting for a Mark increases the risk of being caught. It's a Mark. This is Alex's chance. Can he persuade the driver to hand over the keys to his pride and joy?
How long are you going to be, mate?
About maybe 2 hours.
Maybe 2 hours?
Yeah,
Okay, just leave the keys in here. What's your reg number?
Helen is there. Helen.
Do you want it washed and valeted? We're doing a £10 deal. You're all right. You're good. I'm just going to put it up at the top there.
Okay then. You
All right? Yeah, I got it for you.
I'll leave everything there, yeah?
Yeah, just leave everything here. It's fine. Okay, cheers, mate.
Oh, excellent. Sat nav.
This customer seems very suspicious of Alex. Even though Alex has got the keys, it's not going all his own way. The Mark really isn't happy.
Yeah, fine, just put it back in.
All Alex wants to do is drive away, and all the car's owner wants is to see his precious car parked up safely. It's no good. The real attendant could be back any minute. Alex has to get rid of the mark, so he pretends to park up. It works, and the mark leaves. Alex gives the mark enough time to get out of sight before taking the car for a spin. The mark returns to claim his beautiful car and is met by the real attendant and some very bad news.
I just come in as only out.
You just come in?
Yeah, 5 minutes ago.
You need our ticket?
Sorry?
You need our ticket? That's not our ticket. Our ticket's these.
Oh, who is this?
I have no idea.
Huh?
I don't know.
Who is this? Fuck, I just give this to somebody here.
Oh, it's just me.
Man, else.
He's not taking this well.
Huh? You just tell me to give him the keys and...
We don't take people's keys off them.
Oh, you need my car.
No way.
Else, man. Oh,
The mark's world is crashing about his ears, but it's worse than he thinks.
Right, so basically what we have here, tons of house keys. The guy just left them in the car. You can see a little ring mark on his window screen, and I believe, bingo, sucker, and of course, sat nav. Now, what a lot of people do, to turn this on, is they store their home address. Now you've got to consider what I have here. Okay, we're at Southwark Bridge Road, so navigate to, there's a button here called Home. If I hit that, I've just now got his home address. I'm in his car, I've got his keys, I know he's not in. You do the math.
So what does the mark make of valet parking, real hustle style?
he just tell me, leave the car here and you can... I said, can I trust you? He said, okay, leave the car here and he'll park it for me. That's why I make me trust him with the green coat and everything, so... Obviously I was so stupid, that was a big shock.
With his car and household safe, it's a happy ending for this driver, but it could have been a nightmare. So, how can you protect yourself against a valet steal?
Remember, if you ever have to leave your keys in your car, make sure your house keys are not left with them. If you have a portable satellite navigation system, take it with you. If it's built in, then make sure your home address is not stored under the button that says home. If a hustler has all three, then it's too easy.
This next scam has been happening all over Europe, and it takes advantage of a common flaw in car security.
The team are heading for a rendezvous at a carefully selected location. They're getting into position around this traffic light control crossroads.
My name is Grandma Funk, y'all. Funk if you're nasty, darling. And you got to be nasty.
Paul manoeuvres the van to allow a quick getaway.
You know what I'm saying? Give me volume on everything, cause I want you to hear me. I want to hear myself. I want the world.
Jess is posing as a cheeky charity fundraiser. She'll wash your windscreen for a donation. Alex will go one further and clean you out for nothing in a scam known as boot popping.
I see you, baby. Shaking that ass. Shaking that ass. Shaking that ass. I see you, baby. Shaking that ass. Shaking that ass. Shaking that ass. Woo! Close your eyes.
The team know the timing of the lights and that they hold on red long enough for them to do their work. Jess waits on the traffic island for a mark to come to her. Alex watches from the side. Paul keeps the engine running. He's parked the van facing up the road, whilst prospective marks will be travelling down the road. This improves his chances of a clean getaway. This scam relies on being able to completely distract the victim. A cheeky top and cheerful chatter will hide Jess's darker motive of distracting the mark, so Alex can do his work undetected. A car arrives and is trapped by a red stoplight. Jess launches into her act on the captive mark.
Ah!
collecting for the local church charity, so I'm just going to clean your windscreen for you because it's a little bit dirty, but don't worry, it won't be too long. So any donations that you have will be much appreciated. Anything from like £1 or £2 or anything.
As Jess crosses to the driver's window, Alex takes his cue to go in. The mark hasn't seen what Alex is up to. He trawls for any valuables. Alex has got lucky. There is a suitcase and a handbag.
I've got a clean windscreen right now anyway.
The driver still hasn't noticed that she's being robbed. The bags are loaded and it's time to go. The lights change and Jess waves a friendly goodbye to the victim that she has helped to rob. The driver hasn't got a clue as to what has just happened back at the lights. This robbery is sadly all too common. We catch up with the driver, and before we give her back her stolen luggage, we get her side of the boot-popping heist.
Oh, I've lost my bag. I had my overnight bag in as well, like my little pulley suitcase. The only person I've seen between now and then was the charity girl cleaning my window. Unless she had an accomplice.
Car crime makes up over 20% of all recorded crime in the UK each year. So how can the motorists protect themselves from this particular type of theft?
Even when you're driving, try to be security conscious. Never leave any valuables on show in your car. And remember that if your doors are unlocked, the likelihood is that your boot is unlocked too. So if you have the options to change the settings in the car, make sure you do so and lock your boot.
Hustlers are experts in human nature. In this scam, they put the mark in a situation that they'll do anything to get out of. And who can resist the temptation to save on a hefty fine?
When a person becomes angry or nervous, they are far more likely to make a rash decision. And it's at this vulnerable point that a hustler can manipulate a mark into doing something they shouldn't. And there's nothing more likely to get Brits upset and hot under the collar than car clamping. Today, Alex will play the role of a car clamper, aided by a company van, fluorescent jacket and an ID badge. Jess is going to be the convincer, and the whole scam relies on her putting in a convincing performance as a clamped motorist. Not only must she play the victim, but she must also side with the mark, lure them into a false sense of security and persuade them to part with their cash. Paul has parked his car and texts Alex and Jess the directions. For this con to work, there needs to be a ticket machine and a space near Paul's car for a mark to pull into. They find the road and park up behind Paul's car. Now they just have to wait. It's not long before someone spots the space and pulls up. This lady has unwittingly become the mark. She checks the ticket machine. It's after 5 p.m, so she should be okay. The mark is gone, it's time to get to work. Alex will clamp the mark's car and Paul's car. Jess will pretend that Paul's car belongs to her. She quickly puts up a notice informing drivers that parking here is suspended and anyone who fails to comply will be clamped and fined. The cars are clamped and Jess gets into position. A few finishing touches and everything's in place. Now they just have to wait for the mark to return. The mark returns and Jess swings into action.
Excuse me, have you done that?
Excuse me?
Have you put the clamp on my car?
Yeah,
Why?
you're not allowed to park here.
Don't be
It's a parking
ridiculous, it's
suspension.
a tiny sign.
I'm sorry, there's a very clear sign.
Well, what am I supposed to do now?
Well, there's a fine you have to pay, and once you pay it, I can come round and get them off.
How much is the fine?
Fine's 120. Is this your car? Yeah, you need to call.
What do I do now? Sorry, what do I do now though? Because I need to get to work. I was there for 1 minute.
I know, but did you read the sign?
I didn't even notice the sign. Sorry.
Well, there's a
how
big
do
sign
I
right
get
here,
that
right
off?
by the ticket machine. You should really know where to park legally.
Excuse me, sorry. How do I get that off? Because get to work now.
You call the number, you pay the fine, they get me, they tell me when you've paid, I come round, I take it off.
Well, can't you just take it off now? Because I'll pay now, then can you not just take it off now?
Well, you need to pay the fine, you get in a queue, I'll come back about an hour and 20 minutes.
What do you mean I get in a queue?
Hey?
What do you mean I get in a queue?
You get in a queue after you've paid.
The hustle takes on an unsuspected turn, and the mark walks off just as Jess was about to throw her the bait.
You know what? She might come back.
I know she will.
The hustlers have now found themselves in a dangerous situation. They don't know where the mark has gone. She may have gone to call the council or the police. The whole scam is in jeopardy.
She'll come back. She's coming back, she's coming back.
The mark returns and the con is back on track. She went to get a friend for moral support. This isn't good for our hustlers. A person with a clear head could potentially put a stop to the scam. Time for Alex and Jess to get back into character.
The sign is
Well,
very
I can't
clear.
believe that you're standing here right now and I have to wait for you to go all the way around.
Now that the mark is back, Jess isn't going to waste any time getting straight to the point.
I just put on the
Why can't I
clamps.
just give you the money now? Then you can just...
Because I'm not allowed to take cash off you.
She'll offer Alex £50 to remove the clamp, but will this influence the mark?
I don't have £120. What if I just give you 50? Can you not just take it off now?
Do you know how many people would try and give me... For 50 quid, me losing my job, it's not worth it.
So what if we both give you 50 quid? Then will you take it off? That's 100. Then will you take my clamp off for that?
Yeah, but you can't tell anybody I took it off because I could lose my job. All right? I want to help you out.
Would you do that? Would
but
you give 50 quid just to take them off now? It's better than 120. And can you do it now, though, please?
I'll do it now.
Away. Thank
But
you. Thank you.
can't,
Thank you.
You can't tell anybody I've done this. I haven't printed off the tickets, but you know you could get into serious trouble as well. So you've got to keep it
Just
still.
do it now, please. Just
All right.
hurry up.
The mark's taken the bait, and with that, Alex goes ahead and takes off the clamp.
I don't know how to sleep at night.
Given the opportunity to pay £50 rather than 120 and have the clamp taken off immediately was too good an offer to refuse.
All right.
Are you sure there's no ticket? Then you haven't
There's
put
no
anything
ticket.
through.
There's no ticket.
Thank
fine.
you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
But you better move your cars now
I know.
because somebody else might clamp you.
With the clamp off, the mark is overcome with relief and more than happy to pay Alex his £50. She doesn't waste any time hanging around and makes a quick getaway with her friend. With it being this easy to make £50, Alex gets straight back to work. By clamping another unsuspecting motorist, he can start his scam all over again.
Come and park here, I dare you.
The scam works because the victim in the end thinks they're getting one over the authority figure. They've been offered the opportunity to pay a lesser fee, therefore for them it's a victory.
I parked my car there for literally like 2 minutes. I didn't notice the sign on the back of the pay and display thing saying you're parked here illegally. I came back and I had a clamp on there.
How does the mark feel when she finds out she's been conned and Jess played an integral part?
She was in on it. I said to that lady that the sign was not there, and she went, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "Oh." Went down there, I told my friend, I was like crying, I was like, I just got clamped, I can't believe it. I was just, and then the 120 quid, I thought, does it really cost that much to get your clamps taken off? And then he said, oh, I'll do it now for 50. So I was like, all right, I'll just give you the 50 and get it taken off now.
When you park your car, just have a look around, look at the signs and make sure that you haven't parked illegally. Now in this situation, you must play everything by the book. Don't try to bribe anybody, because if something does go wrong and there is a problem, then you've got nobody to turn to because you yourself have committed a crime.
This scam has been pulled on car dealerships around the world, but it could happen to anyone selling their own car.
I'm confused, I'm baffled.
To find out why this man is so upset, we have to go back in time. Alex is surfing the net for an expensive car. When he finds one he fancies, he makes a quick phone call to Jess, because for this con, it takes two to carjack. Buying or selling your car is likely to be the second biggest exchange in money you will ever have next to selling your house. We'll show you how not to lose it all in a con that's beginning to surface in the UK. Alex and Jess have arranged to come round to the owner's house to see the car, and more importantly, to take it for a test drive.
Ian, Mandy.
Ian's Mandy. Mandy not very well.
Oh, hiya. Hear about the car?
Oh, the person was going to look at the car. Should be coming in a minute.
Oh, he's not here?
Should be right there.
Oh, okay. This is Mandy.
The owner of the car is unavailable to do the viewing, but has sent his grandson out to talk to Alex and Jess.
That's all right. Yeah. Is this your car? Sorry, I didn't speak to you on the phone. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was my granddad.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, great. Looks nice inside, actually. Is there... Just wanted to see as well if there's...
As they look the car over, Alex makes sure the rear door has got the child lock on.
Very good. The child locks. Look at the boot.
As Alex fiddles for the boot release, he plants his special spy camera in the car so he can see how this scam progresses later on.
There we go. Oh yeah, that's enough space for...
Jess makes out she isn't feeling well. This is a key element to the whole scam.
How it falls off and so on.
Oh yeah. Are you feeling alright? Sorry, she's had food poisoning all night.
Sorry, I'm sick on you, I'm very sorry.
She's trying not to be sick on you. Right, are you okay?
Yeah. I can't go in for very long.
Okay. Do you mind if we take it for a quick... do you want to pop in the front?
Yeah.
And you're right at the
I'm
back?
going to get in the back, I'm not getting in.
Alex makes sure that Jess gets in the car seat where the child lock is turned on. And this gives Jess the opportunity to plant our second in-car camera.
Just take a quick spin around.
Okay.
Okay.
Like a family car.
Yeah, we've got a little kid. He's only about 10 months. Little Paul.
Alex wastes no time in making small talk to put the mark in the comfort zone.
Oh, that's good that the locks go down. And that's locked. You know, make sure that it doesn't fall apart.
Whilst he is doing this, he is keeping an eye out for a suitable place to pull over. When he finds one, he'll cough to give Jess the signal to begin the con.
Sure.
There's the signal.
Oh. Okay. Don't panic. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Okay, can you open the door for it?
Jess can't get out of the car. The child lock is on.
Right, calm down.
This puts the mark in an impossible situation, and the pleas for help force the victim out of the car.
Can you open the door for it?
One push of the central locking button, and it's all over. They've got away with a 20 grand car for less than 10 minutes work. It all started as a favour to his grandfather, taking a test drive in an expensive car. And within 400 yards of his home, he'd lost it.
The way they did it was just so simple, yet it actually gets you out of the car.
So, what advice is there for doing that test drive?
Ask more questions before we get in the car and so on like that. You know, because they just came from nowhere. I didn't know I think he told me his name. Basically, I didn't ask that many questions and I would have brought someone else with me.
If you're taking people for a test drive in your car, but for some reason you have to stop, then make sure you take the keys out of the ignition before leaving the vehicle.